I really don't have much time. I've got a call in 3 minutes at 11:30 a.m. I woke up later than planned, which was a little bit stupid. I woke up, went to walk my dog, and then now I've got this call, and then at 12 I've got a driving lesson. So I'm running around. I come back after that driving lesson, then I'll have a bunch of work to do, and I'll probably just cut to my to-do list after that lesson. And in the meantime, I don't really have much spare time. I'm just gonna be on this call until then. So it's pretty much it. It's a little annoying to wake up late though, but oh well, it is what it is. It's now about 4:20 p.m. almost. So I did the driving lesson. I went and also did that call, and now I have not much, like 10-15 minutes before I want to go to the gym. But I just want to do a couple of like the little side tasks that I can hopefully get done before heading out. Then I'm going to have to go pretty much straight to some more theory lessons, because basically in Portugal, to get my driver's license, I need to do like a lot of lessons. So 28 theory lessons and 32 actual driving sessions. And you got to take a theory test, then obviously your driving test. And it's a little bit of a pain in my ass because that's 60 lessons in total. It takes a while to do all those. And I don't want to be doing this for like 6 months. I'm trying to get it done as soon as possible so I can travel, have a driver's license, not need to worry about that. So I'm just basically trying to speed run this thing. And I've been, like tomorrow I have like 5 hours worth of lessons. So I'm just like booking as much as I can on top of each other, like all the lessons that I can. So that's the plan. I still have to do the design work and the app development. I'm probably only going to be able to do that after the gym because, because I'm going to have like 10-15 minutes now, go to the gym, go to the driving lessons. That's 2 hours, get back about 8:30, have dinner. Got to walk my dog as well. And then after that is when I'll have kind of my focus time. I tend to focus better at night. That's not something I love. I mean, I wish I could be like a morning person and like work super well, but if I wake up super early, I do tend to do good work those few hours after I wake up, but then like by like 10, my productivity like declines steeply. And I get super distracted, I get super tired. It generally turns out to be a pretty poor routine. And then what happens is toward the end of the day, I like get focused and I get back in the groove, and then I have to go to sleep. Because I've set myself that early wake up time, and I also can't function on like too little sleep. Like for a prolonged period of time, like my performance decreases way too much. So recently that's just been the cycles, like sleeping a little bit later, waking up around like maybe 9, maybe 10. So there's some other little tasks I gotta do. So I gotta post that front end job, probably use GPT to help me. I gotta do some like no code automation stuff for one of my clients. We don't usually do no-code automations, but this client is a company I particularly like, and I know the founders personally and stuff, and so I wanted to help them out. But generally, one of my goals this year is to like push out the clients which are not directly relevant to the thing that we're best at, even though we may be able to do things in different tech stacks. Like we have the capacity to do Angular, to do Vue. If you're a developer, you'll know those are front-end frameworks basically. But that doesn't mean they're worth doing. Because we're the best at kind of React and not at those other ones. And so if we can do a better job for clients doing React, we can also charge more money accordingly. And I think being the best at one thing is far better. I had this conversation with a friend of mine the other day who's trying to do like a basically deal-making business. Like he's got some contacts and he's trying to leverage it and earn commission by connecting people and build a business around that. And he was saying he hasn't picked a niche. Like I asked him if he'd picked a niche, and he said no, because I'm trying to see what deals come in and see where we get more deal flow, where we have more buyers, whatever. And now this is just from what I've observed from other people and what I've felt like in my own experience, having been running this business for like a year and a half. But that's a pretty flawed assumption because, I mean, logically it makes sense, but I think it's only like logically in your head, because what actually happens is you tend to try and do everything and you're the best at nothing. And so actually none of those areas grow particularly well. Also, something that's worth noting is like, let's say you might get 10 deals in one area and 1 deal in another, but that 1 deal can be way larger and be worth the same as those 10. And so quantity doesn't necessarily reflect where you want to go, and also you might get lucky, but any of those areas are hard. Like all the areas are hard, all the areas will take focus, it will take time. And that part sucks. Having that patience, as a young person especially, like if you're a young founder, it sucks because you're used to things happening a lot faster. And there's so much like quick validation on the internet, it's actually insane. So I suggest steer clear of that as much as you can. And if you can figure out what you want to stick to, you will get a lot further. And yeah, I mean, just be prepared to like put in some months where you don't get the best results, but then after things actually really start picking up, if you choose a niche properly. Trying to do a little bit of everything will actually stifle your growth more than you think. Also, sometimes you do have to do a little bit of everything to keep the business alive. I know I've been in that position before where I started taking on costs and stuff like that. And, you know, I was like, okay, I've just got to do whatever. And it makes sense sometimes, but you have to do it knowing that the only objective of doing that is to build runway to be able to then focus on that one niche that you're really strong at, to figure that out. If you do anything and kind of blow that money on, you know, not the most useful stuff, you're just going to find yourself continuing to do kind of whatever deals you can scrap together from wherever, and those will be really low quality, and over time you're just not going to build a very profitable business. You're going to struggle and probably just not have a super fun time. At least that's been my experience building stuff. Like I used to do kind of stuff all over the place, and then I realized, oh, this isn't so great. And so one of the goals I have now is like, I'm trying to increase my LTV to a certain value. And as a breakdown of that goal, I need my retainers to be of a certain size. And to have retainers of a certain size, I need to help certain kinds of companies, because there are certain companies who simply can't afford those retainers. And so it doesn't make sense for me to serve to them. And I'm trying to find where I can add the most value so I can ask for those retainers. And I'm slowly, like just a couple days ago, I basically increased the minimum retainer for the lowest paying client, which is actually that no-code stuff. And I basically said, you know, we're raising our minimum retainers. Are you guys okay with that? And so what I'm doing is I'm slowly moving them toward that LTV goal of mine. And if they can't, I have to replace them. And I would suggest doing that gradually, because otherwise it can be a bit of a shock to the system and you might end up with no clients, and that'll be a bit of a disaster, because you have to like slowly gain the ability to command the prices that you want. But you slowly raise those prices and eliminate the clients who are not able to get you what you want, unless they have strategic value, right? So unless they have strategic value to you in terms of like they can get you bigger clients, or they're a brand name, you know, like if Google wants to work with me, I don't care if they underpay me, because their brand name alone is worth a lot more. Or if there's somebody who has, like a VC wants to work with me for something super cheap, but I know that opens doors, then it's worth it, right? But otherwise, start kind of focusing on the LTV. That's just the way I've been thinking about it lately, and that has yielded a lot more results. And then also when I'm quoting projects for new clients, because I do software development, so each project can be quite different, but now I have this target of like, okay, I want to get at least this kind of retainer because I have this LTV goal and I have this average project duration, and so combining the two of those, how do I make sure I hit that? So yeah, that's just kind of my thinking about a lot of this stuff. This is my to-do list right now, and it's pretty empty, but this is kind of what it looks like over a full week. And honestly, it's been such a game changer. I made this on Notion not too long ago, but it's been an evolution of like my personal task management, like, you know, things that I do. And I suck at I procrastinate loads. I suck at time blocking. I suck at Pomodoro techniques. I'm awful at it. And the main thing is just because I get distracted easily, but I also, like, I get locked into stuff easily. So if I take a break, it's really hard for me to get back into the work. But if I start the work, it's a lot easier. And I find it a lot easier to just manage this like to-do list kind of thing over several days. And this Notion template, like I've just grown it over time, and it has been so good for me. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I got to get to work, see what I can do before going to the gym. And oh yeah, I am also interviewing a VA, virtual assistant. I'm considering hiring one. see if she can like basically manage my email, stuff like that, communications, be more timely about it than I am sometimes. I don't know if I'll pull the trigger on that. I think I might be a little bit too early for that. I think my money might be better invested in this PR campaign that I want to do. But yeah, I mean, business is all about kind of opportunity cost, and that's one of the things I've been struggling with lately is where to put the money. Also, a new front-end developer hires is also like in the mix for where to put the money, because that would increase our capacities. Because if we launch a PR campaign right now, we won't be able to capitalize on too much of that because we don't have capacity for it. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, today I got a bunch of stuff I need to get done ASAP. And I'm probably only going to be able to start my focus work kind of after dinner, which is a little bit annoying, but it's when I'm productive, so it doesn't matter. I mean, if the work gets done, it gets done. So I don't really care. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to be busy from now until dinner, so I'm probably just going to cut straight to that. All right, so this is my story in 60 seconds. When I was 12, I started on Code Academy doing like HTML and CSS. I made a website that had like a picture of a bear on it and some random other stuff. I made the background color orange, and I thought it was cool. When I was 13, I got accepted into this New York Times summer school in the US. And bear in mind, I lived in Malaysia at the time. I was raised abroad. And I didn't have any money to go, and I couldn't get a job, so I started selling stuff. I made my first business. I launched a website where my friends could order Subway sandwiches to school, because it was a half boarding school, and so people didn't like the food, and I saw an opportunity and I took it, and actually people did want them. So that was my first business. It was profitable, made some money, and then eventually I shut down because the school caught on and they were complaining about too much outside food coming in. Then I relaunched it at 14, and I this time built out a proper backend. The first time I just used like a really simple front end and some Google Forms and stuff. The second time, when I was 14, I built it properly. I had, two-factor authentication with email. You had like an in-credit system where you could send people money and stuff, but that relied on a prepaid model. So you'd pay me and I'd top up your account. Turns out students didn't like that. Also, I did zero marketing, and I didn't even know that that was a thing that I had to do. So that kind of stopped, but the technical experience was super, super good. I tried day trading with another older friend when I was 14 with that little money I had made from the first time running the business. Obviously, I lost everything like a complete idiot. I tried setting up a dropshipping store with that friend as well, and realized neither of us wanted to spend on ads, so that kind of just shut down. Then I got a little bit into the academic side, like I was a proper nerd. So I got into medicine a lot, specifically neuroscience. I studied it a lot. I tried to do some research projects in medicine in general, just like kind of learning about a lot of stuff. I reached out to a local neurosurgeon actually, and I shadowed him. And so for a week I spent just with a neurosurgeon following him around and seeing patients, and there was actually one surgery I observed. So I went in the OR in my scrubs and kind of saw this patient and saw the surgery happen right in front of me, and I saw inside someone's brain. That was really cool. I wrote an essay that got me into a Cambridge summer school, but then COVID started. I couldn't go. So I did a research project into Bayesian machine learning with this PhD guy who was like a Cambridge fellow or something, can't remember. I also joined a hackathon when I was 15 after this research project, and that's basically a weekend where people scrap together a product prototype as a startup, and they pitch it to investors. And it was my first time building with React. If you're a developer, you'll know what that is. I worked a lot, people liked my work, and they started hiring me as a freelancer. So that's how I got kind of my first paid jobs as a developer. And that paid me about $2,000. I also interned at another startup around this time and did more SEO, business development related stuff. I co-founded an edtech startup when I was 16. I was basically acting as CTO. That was my first time kind of managing technical talent, like people under me. Wasn't managing a whole lot of people, basically other students. We did a podcast with that company, interviewed a bunch of people, CEOs of large corporations, Olympic athletes, startup founders, very cool people, and countless perspectives that I think were really, really valuable to me, especially over time. Eventually I left the company at 17 because I basically disagreed with the direction they were going in, and I thought things weren't going where it should be. Then I started dabbling in crypto and blockchain in that development space. I was curious, so I got into that. I went to a couple conferences. I went to New York, I went to Denver. That was actually my first time in the States. That was quite a trip. And then shortly after those kind of conferences, I founded this agency and started helping startups out with early stage products. And I've been doing that for pretty much 2 years now. It's been a year and a half where I've been like actually full time on it. And between all that, there were countless other projects which I started and stopped. So like things like podcasts, random side hustles that made no money, and other like academic programs. I did a lot of stuff, dabbled a lot, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And today I run this development agency, Mint House, where we focus especially on early stage products and build stuff from the ground up or do extremely fast iteration on existing products. So that's it. That's my story. And right now I'm 19 and loving what I do. I don't go to college, but I've made my life what I want, and nothing else I could ask for, really. So now I'm 19. I run this software development agency. We work especially with startups, but with companies of all sizes as well. And I'm having a great time. We work remotely. I've got an awesome team, still growing it, and really enjoying kind of just the process. And I started sharing my content on YouTube just because I think it'd be really cool to document the stuff that I'm doing, the way I'm thinking, and it'll also be really cool to reflect on later, you know, like 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 36 months from now, to look at the way I was thinking about things today and see that evolution of thought process. So that's the goal. And yeah.